Thank you for tuning in another episode of the Game is the Game podcast. On this one, we'll go ahead and break down the finals game three between the Bucks and the Suns. Talk about some things that we saw and some adjustments that the Suns and the Bucks can make going into game four. We're also going to talk about the USA basketball team, the upsets both to Nigeria and Australia, and does this forebode things to come for Team USA? I'm more skeptical than Eric is, but we'll definitely talk about it and see. So definitely rate, subscribe, review. We are going to be coming to you with these season breakdowns, so just be patient with us. We want to do it in a way we're going to grow this thing, make it big, make it real. Be patient with us. We're going to try to get them all done before the draft. We have a couple of weeks to do that. So we haven't recorded in the tough. We're just editing them. So definitely rate, subscribe, and review, and we appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get into it. But first,
yes, yes, ha ha, ha ha. I need the realness.
All right, thank you for tuning into another episode of the Game is the Game podcast. We're going to go ahead and break down the finals. Right now, we are going to talk a little bit about game three and talk about what we're going to see in game four. So definitely subscribe, rate, all that good stuff. I'm here as always with my little bro, Eric. He has a sign behind him, Giannis 47, Sims 46. What does that symbolize? Is that the free throw count? What is that?
That is the free throw count for the series. So that means that Giannis has shot more free throws than the Phoenix Suns as a team in 3 games in the finals.
Yeah,
that is absurd.
That is absurd. It is absurd because, this kind of reminds me of D Wade versus the Mavericks. Remember, he had that series and he was shooting almost like 15, 17 free throws a game. There was a couple games we got up to the 20s. And I guess that's a good place to start. The Suns are a jump shooting team. So I can see how one could say, hey, Giannis attacks the rim. They really don't have anyone that can handle him physically. So, of course, he's going to shoot a lot of free throws compared to the Suns team that is a jump shooting team. But at the same time, they do have DeAndre Ayton. They are allowing PJ Tucker to get really physical with Booker. So the free throw disparity, I think that's what you're definitely going to have to look for game four, because now Monty Williams is complaining. It's becoming a thing where they're pointing it out. Giannis is shooting more free throws than us, and they're complaining about it. What do you think about it? Do you think it's fair?
As he should. I think that if you look at like a player like LeBron James in the league, we all say anyone that watches basketball says he doesn't get the amount of calls.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
He doesn't get the amount of calls, and it's just kind of baffling to me that Giannis gets those calls that LeBron doesn't, and I just wonder why that happens. I'm not going to sit here and critique every foul that he gets, but Giannis gets a lot of touch fouls. And I think that when you talk about a player of this caliber, someone that's constantly attacking the rim, I don't think that they should always stop the game and blow the whistle as much as they do. Now, is that the reason why the Phoenix Suns lost game 3? No, I think that the Bucks just outplayed them. They played better than them. And Phoenix did settle for a lot of jump shots, especially there in the third quarter where the game was kind of close. They started to settle for a lot of jump shots and the game started to unravel. But that is something that has to be looked at going forward. I mean, regardless of how much Giannis attacks the rim and what kind of player we think he is, I don't think that in no shape or form in the finals in 3 games, one player should outshoot a whole team in free throws. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that is. I knew that he outshot him the last game, but I didn't know he had a lead for the whole series.
He has a lead for the whole series.
We'll definitely see, because the free throw shooting aside, it was Ayton foul trouble that really, made game 3. That's what really decided, in my personal opinion, because the Suns had to go small, especially in their third quarter. And that's when Giannis kind of feasted. Giannis has feasted the last 2 games, back-to-back 40-point games. First time since LeBron did it that's been done. So he's dominated. And I think everyone expected him to have a physical matchup in this series. I think it does hurt that the Suns don't really have another rim protector besides Ayton. So if he does get in foul trouble, it's tough. That series where Miami beat the Bucks the season before, and Crowder was guarding him. Crowder was the frontliner defense, but he always had Bam behind him. and they didn't have those opportunities. So there's not that many players that can physically match up with Giannis and keep him away from the rim. And also, I think Giannis has kind of settled into a game. People talk about his game and not having a bag and not having moves. I think he's settled into that left block where he comes sweeping in on the left side, coming off over his left shoulder, where he's going to either shoot the hook or he's going to fade to the baseline. I think he's comfortable in that place, in that pocket. And I think this is the first time in his career that he's kind of comfortable in the spots that he's going to attack in crunch situations. I also thought that Devin Booker, he hasn't really played well. He played well game two, but that was in the second half. The first half, he's kind of struggled. I think he's needs to, be smarter in the way that he attacks Tucker. I mean, they're allowing Tucker to foul like they did with Kevin Durant, and I know that's probably throwing him off a bit, but he needs to be smarter how he attacks, run them off screens a little bit more. I do think Monty Williams, especially complaining to in the public about the officiating, about the lack of calls. I think he's going to probably get more calls this game three. Another adjustment that I think that the Suns can make, and we can talk about adjustments for game four. I think we've talked a lot about enough about game three. One adjustment I think they can make is they need to throw out zone. They went zone when they went small, and it was effective, but they got killed on the second chance shots. There was a lot of offensive rebounds. That's something that they should do even when Aiden's in the game, I believe. They should go small and see, they should go zone and dare the Bucks to shoot. Another thing that I'm looking for is I think that was a really good Crew Holiday game. Giannis is getting all the headlines, but I think on a couple of times the lead was down to 4, the lead was down to 6, and on both occasions he made in the third quarter like crucial threes, back-to-back threes. I think in both occasions. So I think, in my personal opinion, those threes kind of won them the game. If he didn't make those shots when that lead cut down to 4 and to 6 and the crowd got quiet and there was a lot of anxiety in the building, I think that really loosened them up. So just the two things I'm looking forward is, do the Suns run more zone, free throw shooting, and I guess the third thing would be Crew Holiday. Can he match the performance he had in game 3? What are you looking at?
I kind of agree. Number one with the zone, I think that they got killed on the offensive rebounds, definitely, and obviously the second chance points hurt them. But I think that they need to dare, PJ Tucker and Connaughton and Drew Holiday to make shots. I think they need to force those guys to make threes. Moving forward, I also think that they need to shorten the rotation. The Phoenix Suns need to, and they need to kind of play their horses heavier minutes, because I think that we kind of got lost in the sauce with Cameron Payne, and I love his game, but I think he was a little bit out of control in game three. And some of the shots that he took, and kind of the way he played at the pace that he played. But I think that they need to shorten their rotation, play their horses a little bit more, and see if they can get a little bit more out of them. Um, I also think that they need to give DeAndre Ayton more touches around the paint. I think that when they're going a little bit smaller, as far as when Brook Lopez is out the game, there's too many times where I see in the game where the Phoenix Suns are settling for jump shots and he has a smaller guy on him. I think that
Mm-hmm.
he needs to be a little bit more aggressive in asking for the ball and dominating that matchup, and
Mm-hmm.
forcing the Phoenix, excuse me, not the Phoenix Suns, but the Milwaukee Bucks to do something different. I
Yeah.
think he needs to pound that matchup and take advantage of having the smaller guy on him. Also, outside of matchups, I think that when we talk about Devin Booker, I just think that he's taking way too many jump shots. Now, I know that me and you offline, we kind of talked about the nose injury and whether that's affecting his mindset with being aggressive, because maybe he doesn't want to get hit
Yeah.
in the
Pace. Yeah.
face. But there's too many times where he's coming off that flare or he's coming off that screen, and it looks like he has a step or two on the guy
Mm-hmm.
coming off the screen, and you would expect for him to dive and attack the basket, but he's pulling up and he's settling for the jumper. So I'm looking forward to him. I'm hoping that he will kind of see that in the tape and see that in the film, when they're breaking down game three and game two, and see that, hey, I'm okay. I'm kind of settling for a lot of jumpers. I need to start attacking the rim, because I think ultimately that will get him more. That will obviously get him to the free throw line a little bit more, and that will change the game in the sense of how they're defending him. So I
Mhm.
think that he needs to attack the basket more, and I think that Chris Paul also needs to be a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end. I think he needs to start looking for his shot a little bit more. I think he was a little bit passive in Game 3, but as far as adjustments, I think yes, I think that they need to go zone, and I think that they need to force PJ Tucker, Crew Holiday, and Connaughton and those guys. You got to force them to make shots.
Yeah, and then when you go zone, even when you go small, it's imperative to make sure that you rebound. The Clippers did it versus the Suns in the previous series when they went small. They were running a lot of zone, and they were, all in, diving in, boxing out to try to stop offensive rebounds. They did it versus the
Utah.
Suns. They did it versus Utah as
Mhm.
well. So it can be done. You can't keep guys off the glass if you really commit to it and really, put your face in the grindstone and get in there and box out. So that's what I'm looking at. What you hit on Devin Booker was spot on. Devin Booker, to me, is one of those roll the ball out players, excuse me, where you can't guard him. It's really on him whether he misses or make it. But like you said, he needs to change his style of attack. And he hasn't really had one of those dominant Devin Booker performances. This is a player that scored 70 points. I've seen him light up every defender that I've seen guard him. There was a game this season where he lit up Ben Simmons for like 45 points. There's nothing really that you can do with him. It's on him. So he has to step his game up, and he has to really come prepared to attack. So I actually look for the Suns. I know a lot of people. I was listening to the Hoop Collective podcast and Tim Bontemps, and a lot of people sound like they're moving heavy to the Bucks actually having control of this series now. They think that they found a formula with the way that Giannis is attacking that they think is going to be, enough for the Bucks to pull the series out. But I actually think the Suns are actually in a good position. And I look for them to win tonight. What do you think about tonight's game?
I think that it's it's on the Suns. I think that even with Game 3, if you look at the Game 3 and you look at the game as a total, the Bucks didn't really blow out the game till the end of the game. Phoenix was in the game all the way up into the third quarter. Um, so when you talk about who's in control of the series, obviously yes. Um, if you look at Game 2 and Game 3, I mean yes, Game 2 and Game 3, the games were relatively close. The Bucks had a chance to win Game 2. They battled back, but I still think that the Suns are in the driver's seat. You're up 2-1. Like you said, that we haven't seen that kind of game out of Devin Booker. We haven't really seen that explosive game out of Chris Paul outside of Game 1. So I'm looking for the Suns to come out, be a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end. But I still think that they're in control. I don't think that the Bucks did anything magical. Obviously, Giannis had back-to-back 40-point games, but I mean he's a superstar player, so I don't. That doesn't surprise me that he had those kind of games. But I still think that the Suns are in the driver's seat. I think that they're in control. Um, this is a game right here that they can win. That they can win. I just think that they need to attack their matchups a little bit better, be more aggressive on the offensive end, and I think that the game is going to be there for their taking.
Yeah,
So I'm going to
I
say the Suns are still in control of the series.
yeah. So I definitely look like the Suns today. I think that they can definitely steal this game. I think the Bucks team is one of those teams like the Clippers, their fan base, like the Clippers, where if they get punched at home, they're the type to, you can feel the worry and the panic in the building. So I don't know. The Suns' whole crown has been raucous. So if they can win this game, I think they can close out this series in 5. But if this game is won by the Bucks, then it's anybody's ball game.
But one thing that one note that I forgot to hit on is that as we talk about adjustments, I forgot. Sorry to go back, but I also do want to see earlier in the game, Jay Crowder take on that Giannis assignment because Jay Crowder has defended him well in the past. So
Uh-huh.
I want to see them go to that a little bit earlier
Earlier, yeah.
in the game because I think that what also hurt the Suns in Game 3 was I think DeAndre Ayton picked up 3 fouls in the
Yeah,
first
he
half.
picked him up quick. Yeah.
Yeah, he picked them up quick. So I think that if Giannis starts to rim run and he's winning that Ayton matchup, I think that they need to go to Crowder and let Crowder take on that assignment. I think that Crowder is an elite defender. Not only is he an elite defender, he has a high IQ. on the defensive end, and he's familiar with Giannis. So I think that they need to allow Jay Crowder to take on that matchup a little bit earlier in the game, especially if Giannis is terrorizing DeAndre Ayton and he's getting off. I think that they need to go to Jay Crowder earlier in the game and let him take upon that matchup if they're not in zone.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was saying. Even in zone, I think that they should, even if Aiden's playing, they should definitely go zone. But yeah, that's a great point. I mentioned it. That's the way that Miami guarded him last year. You had Crowder in front of him with Bam behind, and I think that would spell Aiden, especially if he picks up a quick foul. They need to switch that matchup immediately. So, just quickly before we get out of here, I just wanted to, as two Niger boys, we have to give props to the Nigerian basketball team on their win against the U.S. Stephen A. Smith got some hot water because he said, "Who the hell are these guys?" But I think that Nigeria, if you look historically in the players that we've had in the league, players that we currently have in the league of Nigerian descent, I think that is definitely going to be, especially with this win, might be something that a team to be reckoned with in the future. But what I did want to talk about, though, in depth was the national team, Team USA. Do you think that this is a sign of trouble to come? Because I'm in the mind that I think it is. I don't know about this team. This team really doesn't look cohesive to me. There's a lot of jump shooting on this team. There's no real downhill action on this team. It's a really clunky fit of players, mashup of players. And I know that everyone will say, hey, the talent is definitely on the Team USA side, so they should definitely win. But, there's only one basketball, like I love to say. And, when I was talking about the Nets, there's only one basketball. And I don't know if this team is really conducive and can really take a punch in the face, especially with the way basketball is played now, because you might have a game where the other team makes 25 threes and they're in tap for you. And then what happens in crunch time? So what do you think about that?
Yeah, before I get to that, shout out to the Nigerian team, Niger boys putting on for the country. Don't listen to that bonehead Stephen A. I don't know what got into his mind and made him say something like that. I think that was very disrespectful on his part,
Yeah.
and I was very disappointed to hear him say something like that, being an African American man, and to get on TV, on national TV, and to completely disrespect not only the players but that country like that. I think that was just embarrassing on his part. But
And
again,
Africa is not a country; it's a
I mean,
continent.
yeah, the continent.
No, no, no. I'm not correcting you. I'm correcting Stephen A. Smith. I don't know how Stephen A. Smith, as a grown ass man, doesn't understand that it is a continent and is not a country.
Country,
Nigeria
yes.
is a country
Nigeria is a country.
and
Africa is a
a
continent.
continent, and it's just like the only thing I'm gonna say about Stephen A. Smith, and sorry to cut you off, that I'm gonna stall him out just a little bit, is I just think he's on everything. He was on UFC boxing after the McGregor fight, UFC coverage, post-fight coverage. I've seen him on boxing coverage after big matches. He's talking about baseball. He's talking about basketball, international basketball. He's talking about football. There's no way in the world Stephen A. Smith even watches all these games, let alone knows about these. So what is he doing? I don't understand what ESPN is doing.
I don't.
None of it.
If you're getting, shout out to him that you
He's
made
getting the bag though.
you're getting your bag, but there's no reason to
Be
disrespect
disrespectful
our
like that.
country. There's no disrespect,
True.
no reason to disrespect the players. They're out there, they're fighting, they're competing. They won the game because of their hard work, their play, and their talent level. We have multiple players that are in the league that are in our NBA rosters. When you talk about Gabe Vincent, Josh Okogie, Precious, the other players are on the team, and those players are capable. That's why they're in the NBA. So it doesn't surprise me that not only did they win the game, but they also came out and beat Argentina by 20 plus points. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they're more than capable. So shout out to that team, and also big shout out to Mike Brown for
For
coaching that
coach.
team out. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Mike Brown and what he's doing out there for the Nigerian team, and boys keep up the good work. But as far as the Olympic team, the American Olympic team, and what you talked about, If you look at their roster, they have a bunch of ISO players. Jason Tatum game is predominantly an ISO game. Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. But I think ultimately, once they get more practice time, I think that they'll be fine. I think that um, they've only had less than a week together. So
Mhm.
I think ultimately when they get together, they'll be fine. They'll figure out some of the issues that they're having. I think that if from the game that I watched, especially the game versus Australia, there was just a lot of jump shooting on their end. There was no action downhill. You didn't see anyone really attacking the basket.
But
No,
who's going to give them that?
no
I keep
driving.
hearing the excuse, hey, they haven't practiced together. I get that. But what I'm saying is this is one of the first Olympics that I've seen. They don't have a LeBron, or that's a downhill player. They don't really have a pick and roll maven who can get like bam lobs and things of that nature. So like tell me like where they're gonna get the easy. All their whole team is their jump shooting team.
Yeah. And that's a good point. But like I said, I think that, Durant is capable of getting downhill. Uh
Is he? Is he?
Durant's able is capable of getting
Is
downhill.
he?
I think ultimately the talent will work itself out. They just need more practice time. They need more game reps. Obviously, where this is exhibition play. So if you're going to make the mistakes, these are the mistakes that you need to make now. But I think that ultimately, when the time comes, they'll be ready. I just think the talent oversees itself. They have not, if not the best coach ever. They have one of the best coaches in all of basketball in the world in Greg Popovich. So I think that they'll figure it out. I'm not really too concerned about the U.S. team and what they're doing, to be honest with you. I think that they'll figure it out. They just have too many players. They have too many players that are smart players with high IQs like Draymond Green and Damian Lillard, Kevin. They have too many players that I know that once they get some more time together, they'll figure it out. So I'm not
Hmm.
too really worried about them. I think that they'll figure it out and handle their
Okay.
business.
I don't know. You said Kevin Durant is the downhill player. Kevin Durant, we have to have a discussion. Like they keep telling me he's the best in the world. He keeps losing. He keeps losing. I don't know.
I think that yeah,
I don't know.
obviously, we can talk about the him losing to the Bucks, and obviously that's some stuff that
I don't
LeBron.
know. The league is funny to me because I don't understand it. This is always my problem. It's like they tell me that this is what we're doing. That okay, hey, you have to win. LeBron, you can't beat Jordan because you have to win. We're not gonna give you props if you don't win. But Kevin Durant, he loses in the Eastern Conference semifinals, and he's the best
But
player in the league.
we all know anybody that's smart enough that watches basketball knows that LeBron is held to a standard that no one else is held to.
Yeah, I just want
That's
to
evident.
keep the
So
energy the same.
that's not even something that
Yeah.
when I talk sports and
Uh-huh.
me and my friends we go back and forth. That's not even something I'm willing to argue anymore.
Yeah.
Because if you don't see that you're just completely being biased. LeBron is held to a standard that I believe that no other player has ever been held to.
Yeah.
He does anything wrong, he falls the wrong way, you guys have something to say. He misses a free throw, he loses a game, he loses a series, whatever the case may be, he's held to a different standard. So obviously, Kevin Durant, I don't think is really held to the same standard that LeBron is, but I still think that when it's all right down, when you do the player list, I still think that Kevin Durant is number 2 in the league. I think he's still the second best player in the league behind LeBron. Um, but he's not held to the same standard as LeBron. But I think that next year will be a little bit different because I think that most fans and most people in the media and around the league, if the Nets don't win, especially if they bring back that same core, if they don't win, regardless of injury, I think people are going to raise their eyebrows and say, you only won because you're on the Warriors."
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I mean, a lot of people still have them as the favorite. Harden, is traveling around Paris, enjoying himself. So we'll see.
Yeah.
The pressure is going to be on them next year. So we'll definitely see. But okay, we'll go ahead and end it there. Game is a game. Subscribe, rate, review. We are going to get these season previews to you. We're just trying to make them nice and special. So we're going to get them to you guys sooner or later. We have a couple of done already. We're going to crank out some more. We're trying to get all the teams done before the draft on the 29th. So we still have a lot of time to get them done. So definitely check that out. We're going to be more consistent with this. That is my fault. A lot of traveling getting done this past few weeks, but we definitely locked in. So rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. You got anything you want to say, Eric, before we get out of here?
Just like I said, shout out to the Nigerian basketball team. Shout out to them boys and keep up the good work. And that's it. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody stay safe, stay solid. We'll see you soon.
So what's up, man? What's up with you otherwise, you know? The game is a game. Always.